A thread by Carlos Osuita. This is priceless. Black Panthers declaring racial war. Satire becomes reality. What isn't this guy doing wrong? I know. Time for everybody to panic again. Let your Uncle Carlos explain a few things. One, about 40% of them are undercover feds. Two, they have no defenses against the U.S. military special operations units. Three, they're creating hundreds of thousands of new supporters of Donald Trump. There isn't going to be a race war because we're under a state of national emergency. I can say that until I'm blue in the face, but it'll never sink in. Under the 136 new laws of the state of emergency and under the Stafford Act, Trump has created joint task forces that function as rapid reaction teams. Military and federal law enforcement rapid reaction teams are all over the country. U.S. military special operations troops, U.S. military law enforcement troops, FBI, U.S. Marshals Service, U.S. Secret Service, repurposed federal tactical units, and retirees from all of the above. Nobody's going to die. I keep telling you that you don't understand what you're seeing. You see what looks like chaos. What's actually happening is that the most highly trained professionals on earth are goading the dummies into showing their hands. You never undertake actions without thorough reconnaissance and the most accurate gauging of the enemy's capabilities as possible. The best way to gauge the enemy's capabilities is to make him fight. This guy can't fight. You don't need to use lethal force on him. Remember, there were tons of semi-automatic rifles in Chazopaz. When the Seattle PD went in, there were none. The night before, someone removed them all. With digital maps of the battlefield, every member of an assault team can see each other. All are represented by dots and numbers or names. They all position themselves and then they all act simultaneously. Typical something lures everybody out. You don't want them to take cover. Then you neutralize them with something we don't even know about. Department of Justice. Domestic terrorism, violent criminal acts committed by individuals and or groups to further ideological goals stemming from domestic influences such as those of a political, religious, social, racial, or environmental nature. Guess what the greatest weapon against domestic terrorism is? Asset forfeiture. You think it's a coincidence that Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested now? Word is, she's singing like a canary. Rich child molesters suffer from spectrum disorders. They're braggarts. Maxwell knows who's funding who and what. We're seeing universal crackdowns. And leftist foot soldiers are the dumbest they've ever been. They know nothing. I watched a horrible video that showed a maniac trying to kidnap a woman's 3 children at a 7-Eleven. She had a baby, a toddler, and a 9-year-old. He was a muscular goon in a hoodie screaming, "Gimme the kids, gimme the kids." Nobody knew what to do. He punched everyone out of his way. Some poor guy was trying to talk to him. The mother got inside the store, and a man tried to hold the door shut, but the maniac punched his way in. Finally, someone wrestled and pinned him to the ground for 3 minutes before the cops got there. Here's what I would have done. I would have asked anyone if they had a belt, and if he did, I'd take it, sneak up on the maniac from behind, whip it around his neck, and fall back onto the ground, choking him until he stopped moving. If no belt were available, I'd come up from behind the guy, embrace him from behind, low down, pinning his arms to his sides, lift him, and dive forward so that he fell headfirst into the concrete. Then I'd bang his head on the concrete until he was quiet. When someone is trying to kidnap little kids, you don't talk to him. You poke his eye out. You clap both his ears with your open palms from behind. You charge like a jousting knight at his groin with reversed broomstick. You stop him. People still talk as if Trump has no means of neutralizing threats except with tanks. It's good that the idiots with guns think that, but everybody else needs to use their brains for just this one time. Again, this is nothing. I lived through both American and Irish bombing campaigns. The British SAS ambushed Irish terrorists and filled them full of holes, but it just made them into martyrs. We don't want to create any martyrs, and we don't have to. This whole thing is a circus act. I mean, look how stupid this all is. Biden called himself his own husband. Vote for me, he says, because you're all scumbags. Wait, don't tell me, let me guess. But what about all the people who believe the clip? They weren't going to vote for Trump anyway. They're not sane. The election is a referendum on sanity. If most of us are insane, it's better we know sooner rather than later, right? But most of us are not insane. Just the Democrats and my neighbors and me. Happy Independence Day.